So yeah, I was in this car, and but you know, it's not like you don't. I talk to everybody, I chill with everybody, but like, you know, you politic, you know, y'all will have your own little politics going on within your car, you know, that interact with the politics of the race, the whole race, that interact with the politics of the yard. So like, it's kind of funny, but this dynamic as I went through the years, and especially like when I would watch like, you know, later on I would watch like PBS. I fell in love with PBS. Shout out to PBS, expanding my mind. And I would watch a lot of frontline documentaries and stuff like that, and Tavis Smiley and this you know, Independent Lens. Like I would watch all these things that would kind of expand my mind and give me a glimpse of a world that I wasn't familiar with. And through watching this and reading and paying attention, I started really like, there's a whole ecosystem in prison, and prison is like a microcosm for the world. And like when you look at all these different races, you can kind of like almost depict each one of them as their own like nation or country, and kind of like, it's weird, it sounds crazy, but like you got to be in it. But it's like a small metaphor for geopolitics. Like I promise you, it's wild. Like if you would to be in the black community where I was at, like if you're a black person in prison, you would be a part of like a more democratic community. If you were another race, it would be more structured, more harsh, and like you'd have less freedom. And like it's just crazy. It's just like, it's there's similarities in everything and everywhere. And I actually learned a lot, like paying attention in prison. I learned a lot about the world, a lot about human nature, and it's not always the worst sides of human nature. But back to the story. So, you know, I'm in this car, but this was what happened over time. Back to my first day in the yard. So immediately what I did as soon as I touched down is I went to my CO3. And your CO3, they call them your counselor. And they're basically someone who helps you with various things. It could be like getting the time compass, which figure out when you're going to get out, like what date you're going to get out, calculated on your behavior, your tickets and shit like that. They can help you get emergency phone calls. They're the ones who give you a max packet if you get in trouble. They're the ones who decide if they want to recommend you to go to a lower yard or a higher yard, like shit like that. And so I went to my CO3 the very first day I was on the yard. I knew I had 10 and a half years left. And I said, when do I get out? I want to know my release date. And he's like, okay, yeah, come on in. We can help you. I can help you figure that out, whatever, whatever, whatever. Okay, cool. So I went in there. I sat down. I gave my DOC number. And I'll never forget, he kind of like, I remember he typed in my DOC number. Then he was kind of like, and I'm like, what? He's like, you don't get out like till like 2025. It's 2014. I'm like, yeah, cool. When I get out. He told me, he's like, you get out February 17th, 2025. He's like, that's kind of a far ways away. In my mind, I'm like, that's none of your concern. Thank you. I kept that date in my mind my entire bid, regardless of how many times people will try to tell me to forget about the streets, regardless of how many times people will try to tell me that, you know, you got to let go of all that. Don't think about getting out. Just focus on here and now. I'm not doing that. Why would I do that? Why would I try to forget the end goal? Why would I try to forget what I'm trying to work towards, which is a successful reintegration into society? Now, these thoughts were already on my mind, fresh on the yard, 10 and a half years, because don't get it fucked up. I knew I had time, but I didn't have time to waste. Even though my path was bumpy and it was for the mishaps and mistakes, at the end of the day, I was always consistently trying to be better and trying to level up. But what I perceived as being better wasn't always in standing with universal principles. So I was punished. You understand? So, but I never forgot what the end goal was. The end goal was to get out of here in a position to where I would never come back. And from day one, that's what was on my mind. And from day one, that's what I worked towards. The goal shifted along the way. My morals kicked in, and you know, I started working on personal development and other things along the way. Well, I was already working on personal development, but I just had a different set of standards for what I consider personal development. But from day one, the goal was to emerge from the Arizona State Penitentiary a motherfucking anomaly. Yeah.